We are in the final installment of the series, Understanding Your Money Personality Type or Your Money Archetype, and today we're talking about the Doomsday Prepper. You know the Doomsday Prepper. You might be the Doomsday Prepper. This is a person who really struggles with what it feels like to part with money, and so they often do a lot of the things that personal finance experts say are really, really important. Stockpiling money, making sure that they are taking advantage of every tax loophole, making sure that they are traveling on the off season and working toward or living a debt-free life. Now, while that all sounds really good on paper, I think it's important to note that having money just for having money's sake isn't the best way to move through life. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the traits of the Doomsday Prepper, along with some of their strengths and some exercises or ideas that I have, if this is you or a loved one that you know, to help you dial down some of that financial anxiety and tightness around finances. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. I'm a certified financial therapist, licensed social worker, author of the book, The Financial Anxiety Solution, and founder of the financial wellness business, Mind Money Balance. Over the last year, I have led over 550 people through a series of financial empowerment workshops, and I am thrilled to be bringing some of the wisdom from those workshops into my content and sharing a little bit more about how we can learn about our financial personality types, how they help us, how they might harm us, and what to do to feel better about money. If you've been loving this series and you think you know what type you are but want to be certain, you can head to my website, mindmoneybalance.com/quiz, to take the free financial archetype quiz to find out for sure what money archetype you are. So the Doomsday Prepper tends to agree with statements like money should be saved and not spent. You should always look for the best deal before buying something, even if it takes a long time. I'd be embarrassed to tell somebody how much money I have or how much money I earn. And if they asked and I answered, I'd probably downplay how much I have or how much I earn. It's impolite to talk to others about how much they earn. It is morally good to be financially savvy, to save money, and it is a reflection of my character as a prudent and frugal person. Those are the types of thoughts or statements that the Doomsday Prepper tends to agree with. And as I shared in the intro, these types of beliefs tend to lead to financial behaviors that most of us would say are pretty good. They tend to be more likely to have fully funded emergency funds, to be prudent about where they are spending their money. They tend to pay down debt or not carry consumer debt in general, and are less likely to hide financial secrets from their romantic partners. So these things really sound good in theory, but what I see when these Doomsday Preppers show up in my office is a ton of anxiety, a ton of tightness, and a ton of fear and scarcity when it comes to how they engage with money or think about money. Because they tend to associate money with watchfulness and secrecy and scarcity, and they have this belief that people should work hard and save up on their own, they tend to be anxious about what the financial future may hold for them. They may delay making financial decisions that involve a higher level of perceived risk than they think, and they may miss out on experiences that having that money could afford them. And what I mean by that is the experience of going on a vacation because you have achieved a lot of your financial goals, or enjoying going out to dinner without stressing about how the bill is going to be split up at the end because you can afford it no matter what, right? Not really taking the time to think about money as a currency that needs to flow. The Doomsday Preppers tend to want to hoard money, hold on to it, watch it pile up, watch it grow. And while those things aren't bad inherently, we want our savings to grow, we want our investments to grow, we want our debt to go down and our financial net worth to go up. Where it becomes a problem is when the growth of money at all costs impacts our ability to function. We are stressed out about not saving enough. We're constantly thinking about saving 10 cents here or 35 cents there. And that financial anxiety is clouding our ability to be present. And along with this clouding of our ability to be present, we can also have a lot of judgment, not just about ourselves around how we spend and how we save, but also around people in our world who may have different financial values than us. If we are a Doomsday Prepper, we might be more likely to judge people who buy a nice car or to judge people who take a vacation that looks frivolous, right? Doomsday Preppers tend to assign morality to saving or spending or earning or having debt, right? There's a lot of this I am good if I save, I am bad if I don't beliefs that can make it really hard to move through the world and use this money in that way that I mentioned earlier of it being a current. Money is a current. It is a currency, which means that if we hold on to it, if we don't use it, if we don't spend it or give it in alignment with our values, that current gets stagnant. Think about water that is just piling up. I am in Anishinaabe land, also known as Michigan. If there is standing water in the summertime, it is gross. It's going to be full of mosquitoes and slime and film, and it's just generally not good. Versus having a creek or a flowing river that can provide sustainability for the lives around us. I know I went off on a metaphor, but I'm a therapist and sometimes I can't help it. When we think about how hoarding money might feel safe, think about how hoarding things like food would feel safe or hoarding things like toilet paper would feel safe. I think we can all remember a time in the not too distant past where that was a thing, that we wanted to have these material things readily available to us to help keep us safe. So when we think about it from that lens, we can extend a little bit more compassion. And the purpose of this hoarding is in case of emergency, in case of disaster, I'll be prepared. But with the Doomsday Prepper, this in case of emergency sensation feels like everything happening all the time is an emergency. So it's really hard to tune into, is this actually an emergency? Do I need to save? Do I need to stock up? Because it's hard to differentiate when is saving $1 just as important as saving $100, right? We need to be really careful about equating the two and making sure that we have additional discernment, additional nuance around money. Sidebar, I actually already recorded this video and this podcast several weeks ago. And then when I opened up my editing app to edit it, only the last minute of it had saved. This is when having a little bit of Doomsday Prepper would have been helpful, where when I was initially filming and recording this, I could have double checked that actually what I thought recorded had been saved or had been uploaded in the way that I thought. So this is not to say that all Doomsday tendencies are bad. I think it's also important that if you're a Doomsday Prepper or you love somebody who is a Doomsday Prepper, that we are mindful about not ascribing them as being stingy or Scroogey or somehow bad because of their tendencies. Oftentimes, people end up in this doomsday archetype because at some point in their life, having money readily accessible was security or safety or was a respite or refuge for them. Oftentimes, these are folks who may come from different backgrounds where having money readily accessible was quite literally a safety net. I'm thinking of immigrants, I'm thinking of refugees, I'm thinking of asylees where having money readily available was important and helped them to move through a potentially dangerous situation. Similarly, if a person grew up in a financially insecure situation, it would make sense that they would want to hold on tightly to money when they saw it coming if they grew up in a situation where money was not consistent. So we can extend compassion, we can extend grace, and we can extend humility to ourselves if we are Doomsday Preppers. To be clear, the answer to having a healthier relationship with money if you are a Doomsday Prepper is not to go out and spend it all and rack up a ton of credit card debt and just buy as many consumer goods as you have. No. Much like the admirer, we want to attach a why to our financial goals. So instead of, I want to save more money because I want to save more money, we want to say something like, I want to save up 3 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund because that will give me financial security that in the event that something happened to my job, I could cover my life for 3 months. That is a very clear and specific reason to save up money, not just I need to keep saving because it's good to keep saving. And when it comes to spending money, if we can think about it with less judgment that spending money is bad or is frivolous, we want to think about what are the areas where spending does feel safe, it does feel secure, it does bring us joy. For some people, that might be travel. For other people, that might be spending on hobbies. For even other people, it may be an extension of their worldview and doing more charitable giving or mutual aid giving that feels really aligned. There is no one way to spend money, if you are working on having that money flow out as a doomsday prepper, just like with the admirer, there isn't a point of earning more money just for earning more money's sake. What I want to think about for those of you who are doomsday preppers is how can we use some of those strengths to help support you as you move into this new phase of having a new relationship with money? Instead of having money for having money's sake is good, how can you work toward a belief that having money helps to expand life's opportunities, or having additional money can be used to fuel experiences that matter, or spending money or giving money to a charity or mutual aid cause feels like an important way to use my financial resources. So it's not about just spending it all or blowing it all, but it's about being intentional, which I'm sure if you are watching this series, that intentionality has flowed through all 4 of these money archetypes. It's not just about a 5-step checklist to feel better. It's about what feels better to you. How can you use discernment? How can you use the values that you individually choose to use money in a way that supports your lifestyle? If you loved this episode and you love this series and you think that somebody in your workplace or in your school or in your club or organization would benefit from having a financial wellness speaker come in, reach out. All you have to do is go to mindmoneybalance.com/speaking to inquire about bringing me in to host a workshop or to facilitate an event. This is what I love to do. I love talking about the intersection of money and mental health and how financial wellness impacts all of our lives, not just the financial net worth that so many people focus on. See you next time.